الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج تنال به الرغائب ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، يروي الإمام البخاري في صحيحه وفي الأدب المفرد في الحديث الصحيح قال عن عطاء بن يسار قال: لقيت عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله تعالى عنهما فقلت: أخبرني عن صفة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في التوراة. Today's hadith is narrated with an authentic chain of narration in the collection of Imam Bukhari, and the Bukhari is the only one who narrated this hadith, and also it's in his other book called الادب المفرد, also for the another book for the Imam Bukhari. And it's narrated by Ata ibn Yasar. This is a tabi'i, and he met Abdullah bin Amr ibn al-As, the known Sahabi, the scholar. And he asked him this question. He said, tell me about the description or the verses in the Torah, in the Old Testament, we call today the Old Testament, about the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And this was a very known thing at the time. It was actually it was the biggest deal at the time. A lot of the Jews and Christians and previous faiths knew about this, and they were waiting for the prophet. They were waiting for a person that will come at the end of the time, and they have a certain description of this. They even had his physical description and also his personality description. It's there. It's there. It was there, and it's still there actually. A little bit lost in interpretation and translation, because the scriptures we have today are not available readily in the original language, and also maybe lost in other types of, there's other factors that cause that. So as we know from the Sirah halqat, there's a lot of Sahaba who actually moved to Medina prior to the Bi'tha, waiting for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, because they knew he's born in Mecca and he's going to go to Medina. They knew that. So he's asking him about his description in the Torah. So Abdullah bin Amr ibn al-As said, Ajal. قال Ajal. Wallahi. And he came with he made an oath. Wallahi. إنه لموصوف في التوراة ببعض صفته في القرآن. That yes, wallahi, by God, indeed, he is described in the Torah, in the Old Testament, with some of his description and attributes that are mentioned in the Quran al-Karim. And we sometimes read the Quran, we don't pay attention. Someone did a survey. There's 2,000 verses out of 6,600, etc., number of verses in the Quran. 2,000 speak of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, either directly or indirectly in the third person. 1/3 of the Quran describes the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam in some way. His heart was described, his tongue, his hand, every when yassarna bilisanik ala qalbik, always like this. And this is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a big deal, is a very big deal. قال والله إنه لموصوف في التوراة ببعض صفاته في القرآن. And then he starts reciting the verses from يا أيها النبي إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا وحرزا للأميين. So the beginning of the verse is very familiar. It's we have it actually, but the rest of it is different. So, Ya ayyuhan Nabi, O Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have sent you, indeed, we have sent you as shahid, as a witness. And this comes over and over in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam witness on all the nations and all the prophets. And through him, Muslims are also witnesses on the other nations. In what way? So if someone from the nation of Nabi Allah Nuh said, well, no, we didn't get any prophet, then Muslims will be asked to testify. Why? Because we have the proof. We have the unchanged word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where it says, Inna arsalna Nuhan ila qawmihi. And that's on the authority of the Quran allows you to testify that. And the Prophet alayhi salam is shahid. And the word that comes after it, shahidan wa mubashiran, a bringer of glad tidings to the believers. Wa nadhira, and also warner for unbelievers. وَحِرْزًا لِلْأُمِّيِّينَ. Hirz, it means a guardian or protector. للأميين. And this word الأميين it came in the Quran as a description to the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام الذين يتبعون الرسول النبي الأمي. And also it's described, it's a word that's in plural that came describing the nation that the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام was sent to. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا. And the word ummi has so many different meanings. And the most common is someone who's uneducated. When you read the translation, it says illiterate, someone who cannot read or write. But this is not a very, to me, it's not a very accurate, because the Prophet ﷺ could have written and wrote, could have read and written maybe, right? Could have. But that's not what it means. It means that he did not receive his education, in quotes, from a human sources. He did not sit in front of a sheikh and learn from him, or went to a university or school. His knowledge is purely from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he's a prophet. That's basically. He's not educated. He's not educated from humans. And this is what it means. It means someone who did not have formal education. And the ummiyin, one of the meanings that an ummiyat means they didn't receive a prophet, because the Arabs did not have a prophet. There was a big interruption between the Prophet Isa alayhi salatu wasalam and the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. 600 years interruption. And this is unusual, very uncharacteristic. It's called Khaterah, right? Usually prophets came one after the other, sometimes multiple prophets at the same time. I don't want to take too much of your time. We'll continue with the hadith. Ya ayyuha an-nabiyyu inna arsalnaka shahidan wa bashiran wa nadhira wa hirzan lil ummiyin, a protector to the ummiyin. Anta abdi, you're my servant, wa rasuli, and my messenger. Anta abdi wa rasuli, sammaytuka al-mutawakkil, I called you al-mutawakkil. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala names something, it means the name fits the description. Mutawakkil, as you know, from tawakkul from tawakkal ala Allah is the person who actually depends in every aspect of their life on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And through him, we should be that way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So to give you the human example of perfection, as in a perfection in a human sense, how to practice this Prophet, this religion, and through him we should learn from that. أنت عبدي ورسولي سميتك المتوكل ليس بفظ ولا غليظ ولا سخاب في الأسواق. That he's not rude. You're not rude or discourteous or harsh to people. And this was the main characteristic of a Prophet ﷺ, which is very difficult to do. The softest, very easy on the eyes and easy on the ears. He's not rude, he's not harsh, very nice to people, and also he's not loud and obnoxious. And if aswaq, it means in public places, that he's easy on the ears, the Prophet ﷺ was. And that's a sign. This is the sign they were looking for. Some Sahabi even provoked him to see how he reacts, because they were waiting for that characteristic to show. ليس بفضل ولا غليظ ولا سخاب، أو في رواية بالصاد سخاب في الأسواق. ولا يدفع بالسيئة السيئة, that he doesn't really oppose evil, wrongdoing with the same, which is your right to tit for tat, right? It's your right, but no, the Prophet ﷺ was higher than that. It's called ihsan, that you go the extra mile. ولكن يعفو ويغفر, but he faced that with kindness and forgiveness. If you follow the word ihsan in the Quran, you'll be amazed what muhsin, what they will get inshallah يوم القيامة. ليس بفضل ولا يدفع لن يقبضه الله حتى لن يقبضه الله, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not allow him to die حتى يقيم الملة العوجاء, until he corrects the deviation in religion that took place over this 600 years between Prophet Isa and Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. بأن يقولوا لا إله إلا الله. And when they say that, of course, it doesn't mean only saying it, but it means to say it and act it. فيفتح به أعينا عميا, and then will cure the blindness of the heart. Of course, not. It doesn't mean visually impaired. It means something else. We know what it means. It means that أعينا عميا, those who do not see what is right. وآذانا صما, and deaf ears that doesn't hear what's right. وقلوبا غلفا, that hearts that are hard and covered, that doesn't see any that doesn't understand what is true. So I hope this was a benefit. يروي الإمام البخاري في صحيحه عن عطاء بن يسار قال لقيت عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله تعالى عنهما فقلت أخبرني بصفة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في التوراة. قال أجل والله إنه لمنعوت في التوراة ببعض صفته في القرآن. يا أيها النبي إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا وحرزا للأميين أنت عبدي ورسولي سميتك المتوكل ليس بفظ ولا غليظ ولا سخاب في الأسواق ولا يدفع بالسيئة الحسنة ولكن يعفو ويغفر ولن يقبضه الله حتى يقيم به الملة العوجاء بأن يقولوا لا إله إلا الله فيفتح به أعينا عميا وآذانا صما وقلوبا غلفا. وصلى الله على حبيبي وسيدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك.